Hey, I'm George from MovieWeb. How are you?
I'm so good. How are you, George?
I'm great. I'm excited to talk to you about this. There's a lot going on, especially in the most recent episode.
I know.
Um, let's start with I want to ask you a question, kind of just point blank from your perspective as, inhabiting this character. Uh, do you feel that Vanessa loves Fisk?
Of course. That's the absolute thing that I'm committed to. Um, yes, I feel like their relationship is the weirdest relationship because it is a love story between two intense. I don't know if I would say villains, but yes, I guess villains in a way.
But do you and do you approach her, there's a really interesting thing in that she's a woman who took over the business and it thrived and it's taken away from her. And you do a great job kind of that the pain that comes across from that is evident. Um, do you feel that the love she has for him kind of supersedes like are you battling internally when you're playing her that like there's the love but there's also everything he's taken kind of and there's the way he's taken advantage that you're like there's something in there that's like fighting a little bit.
I feel that there's definitely duality inside of her. That's what makes her interesting. She loves him, but now in this season she questions trust, and he questions trust. So I think that's really the theme that goes above everything else. Whatever they're doing, it's all about that. But the undercurrent is definitely love. I mean, they do, I don't think she does anything for power per se. I think Vanessa does, we do things for something that's, bigger and deeper. For her, I think it's um, to gain safety.
Yeah, and
Um,
when
for her, power and control is means safety, because she understands that based on the past, that safety is a questionable thing and very fleeting thing, including what can happen to him. So I think what she does is also to create safety for both of them.
interesting, so she's protect in her mind in your mind she's trying to protect him too a little bit.
She is, even
Yeah.
from herself.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, she really lost control and she created like peaceful equilibrium. And I love that like I said, I love the frustration you portray and that it's like I had it all figured out and you ruined it. But you're saying that inside of that there's a love of him that she wants to keep him safe.
I mean,
Um
without that, there's no relationship and no show. Because I
yeah.
think the beauty of Wilson is that regardless of the fact that he's brutal, um, he's capable of loving her beyond anything else.
He
And
seems to
she
genuinely
is
love her.
loving
That's
him.
not a question I would ask. I think the question is more, does she genuinely love him?
Oh yeah, I think it's very similar. If it wasn't, then it wouldn't work.
Yeah. The
But, people make mistakes, so let's see what happens.
Yeah. You're not going to close the door on what might happen out of love, right? Anything's possible. Um, you're playing these scenes in a therapist's office. You're not a character with superpowers. It's a superhero show. Something so grounded in all the scenes you're doing. It's like closer to The Sopranos than it is, Superman or something like that. Can you talk about how you guys, all three of you, approach those sequences and working with Vincent D'Onofrio, who's incredible on this dynamic, these therapy sessions where there's so much you can't say that you won't say that you're talking around. It seems like a bit of a dance.
We didn't talk about these things.
So you
We
just go in there and yeah.
there was a discussion with Dario a little bit from my end about her, and something that I felt um maybe that needs to be expressed, but and he agreed with me. Um but when it comes to me and Vincent, we don't need a lot of conversations about the scene. because I feel like we understand each other very easily and deeply, and I feel like we trust each other very much. So um, when we are asked about certain things, I mean, sometimes we do when something needs to be um, worked with the directors, in the scene. But for example, in those particular scenes, we didn't have much conversations at all. We just walked into them.
Interesting.
Everybody came. He came with his baggage, I came with my baggage, and it worked.
Like real therapy.
Yes.
Very nice. I kind of want to ask you a little bit about it's off topic a bit, but you were in Munich with directed by Spielberg, who's one of the greats, and it's like an underrated gem from him, especially as it applies to now or any point in history. It's got a
Yes.
fascinating message.
Right.
And I'm curious what that experience was like, working with him, working on that movie, recognizing that it has such an important place, really, in history.
I think it's one of his best movies. And I think Tony Kushner wrote it, and it's one of his best screenplay. I mean, I read it in London. It was this big. Some of
Wow.
it was chopped, and it's really fastly edited. It was one of the best experiences of my life because Steven is a really phenomenal director and creator. So to work side along him to see how he works, and coming all the way from Israel, this was my first international film, so it was like I couldn't believe my luck. Also, um, I was cast for that role, but only after the movie was edited. It was when he called me and he said he complimented me, and then he admitted to say um, that he didn't realize how important the role is until he started editing it. So I was like, oh, okay, I guess it's a compliment. I don't know. um, um,
That's an incredible phone call to get from Steven
Yeah,
Spielberg.
I
By
got a
the
few
way,
phone
I
calls from him.
didn't know.
He's amazing. He's the most fair person I've ever met. He called me to say that he had to chop a few things that couldn't find a place for them because he made the movie shorter. And he made the effort to call me and say that
Wow.
before even watching the film, which was to me amazing because not a lot of directors would do that. And then at the same time, he said, "And by the way, you're doing an amazing job. Just so you know,
Incredible.
you
What
know."
were the scenes? Do you remember?
I cannot. You know what? I don't want to do that. I don't want to talk
Okay.
about it because I feel like the movie is what it is.
Yeah,
He
no, that's a
made the
good point.
choices that he made the choices, so why? But I
No.
had some nice scenes that were chopped. Yeah,
Well, you
unfortunately.
have some good scenes that were left in there. When you come into something like, because doing like that's a great example of drama, but nowadays there, like I said, where people are trying to bring that kind of grounded drama and reality to these heightened stories like about superheroes.
Yeah.
In your role, I'm curious about how you kind of stay focused on so much of what your character does and what the story is that grounding thing in New York. You talked about it in therapy like it's business, but it's crime. But I find it really interesting that actors have to find ways to ground these stories, and
Yeah.
that's what makes them work and why people love
Yeah.
Daredevil,
Yeah.
honestly.
I think that's what works. Well, first of all, it comes from the writing. When a writer creates something that has depth to it, and Dario has he's really going for the nuances. He doesn't tell you what it is. He might think something different from me in a scene. And sometimes we even discuss that, and he was thinking something different than me and I was thinking something else. But he really respected my eventually my approach to her. So first of all, it's absolutely the writing. But then, because we know Vanessa from before, and
Mhm.
because there's such a relationship with Vincent, it creates a sort of a life for the character. And also, she's just very interesting the way she thinks.
Yes, she holds her cards close, so it's always curious what's coming
She
next.
she thinks in a very, very different way than any human being would think. She's kind of like a lion tamer in a way with him, but then at the same time, she's very calculated, but then very emotional. like she's protecting something very, very vulnerable on the inside. So I think she's very interesting. She's multidimensional, and that's what makes it interesting. And also the themes in the show are what makes it interesting. It's not about superhero power. It's really about, you know, your true nature, and can you fight your true nature, and
Yeah.
questions of that nature that makes it really, really interesting.
Yeah, I think she packs the most menace of anybody. And I really do. Like she seems more dangerous than him to me. And I'm curious looking ahead to the rest of the story. You obviously can't tell us anything, but what do audiences have to look forward to in the end and beyond? If you can say it obliquely.
Ooh, wow. um Eventually duality has to settle on one side.
Okay. That's interesting. That's a good
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
I like that. I want to thank you again for taking the time, and it's been a pleasure chatting with you.
Thank you
So
so much
we're
for
excited for the rest of it and great
me
work.
too. I'm excited for you to watch.